Hello and welcome to this webinar. It's great to see you all at this webinar about what it's like to live and study in Copenhagen as an international student. My name is Jonas and I'm 22, and I'm currently a student in the third semester of the program Marketing Management in Lyngby, in the campus there. And I'm one of the 5 people you can expect to meet in this webinar. In the next 20 minutes, you will be introduced to why is Copenhagen a great city to live in? How do you survive in Copenhagen with a student budget? And what type of help can Cphbusiness provide you with? How do you find a place to live? What can you do in your spare time? And some advices we as students wished for would have given us before we came here. And to begin, I will pass on to you, Katrina.
Thank you.
She will explain you some house rules for this session.
Thank you, Jonas, and welcome to all of you who are joining today. I am Katrina, and as she said, there are a few practical details that you need to keep in mind. First of all, we are recording, so keep this in mind. Those of you who signed up and received email reminders from me, you will get a copy after. We are hoping that you're going to be very interactive with us today. So please use the Q&A you can find somewhere on your screen to ask your questions. After the 20-minute long presentation, we will move on to answering those. And it is our aim to end at 6:45 at the latest. But the more you ask, the more relevant this will be for you. So please don't hold back. That was it. Now I think it's time for you to listen to why 3 of our great students have chosen to study here in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And we will begin with you, Jamie.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie and I'm from Germany. And I chose Denmark actually because when I was little, we traveled a lot to Denmark actually. And I just fell in love with the way of Danish people live, how kind they are, the architecture of the old buildings, especially here in Copenhagen, and the water and the harbor. So I could just go on and on what I love about Denmark. So it was pretty early clear that I want to study here. And so then I just needed to decide what school. And I decided Cphbusiness because of the program I'm in, Service, Hospitality, and Tourism Management. It was a perfect fit for what I want to do. And I also decided on this school because it's really practice-oriented. And it really helps or provides us experience to apply in our future life, or in our working life. And so that's the reason I chose Cphbusiness. And now after a year, why do I stay, or what do I like about Denmark? And I really enjoy Denmark because it's a good balance between studying, working, and having a social life, which we will discuss later on. But what about you, Bogdan?
Hello, guys. My name is Bogdan. I am 24 and I come from Romania. As many of you, before I actually moved in here, I had a list of choices or a list of different options that I was kind of balancing in between. The list contained France, Germany, England, and Denmark. So there was a lot of things to look at, but actually in the end, the things that made me come to Denmark and to Copenhagen specifically was, first of all, I had a bunch of really good friends of mine from back home that were actually following the same degree that I ended up following as well. And looking at the different universities around Copenhagen and around Denmark in general, I soon realized that it might definitely be the place where I can find a degree that's very suited for my needs. So I actually ended up following an AP degree in service management, because at that point in time, I was really considering having a long-term career within hotel management and within the service industry in general. Now the things have slightly changed in the meantime. I have started doing some different things, and that is why right now I'm actually a student in the top-up program, but in the innovation and entrepreneurship. And it's been a great decision to come to Copenhagen, and the reason for that is because you will soon discover, if you actually end up coming in here, how magical this city is in terms of the things you can do, the people you can meet, it's such a cosmopolitan sort of city. One night you can just be out having some drinks with some friends, and then you end up talking with somebody from Argentina, somebody from Spain, somebody from Germany, all of you together at a table, just sharing experiences and creating very nice connections. So for me, I think that's definitely one of the main reasons why I very much enjoy living in Copenhagen right now. But also more on a practical side, it has a very good standard of living. The city is incredibly beautiful architectural wise, but also, it's always clean. The people are always nice. You don't see any weird arguments happening on the streets. It has a very good standard of living, and it definitely helps as a student to live in a peaceful environment where you can just focus on the things that you should focus on as the school. But those are a couple of things about me, and I think I'll just pass it to Jonas right now to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, thank you. Hello again. I'm actually, my reasons to come to Denmark were actually already some things in Germany, because I started working for 2 Danish companies. The one was Studenti, and the other one is Hi-Fi-Klubben, which you probably gonna recognize in Copenhagen when you're gonna be here, because the workflow was really nice over there, because you had your own responsibilities. So you just got a task, and then how you solve it is your way, and you can decide whatever you want to do. But at the end, it's just about the product, and this kind of work culture is really nice. Also, the way they're using the hygge vibe, you probably heard about it. The cozy vibes in the Scandinavian culture is really, really, actually getting me, and I really feel it, because you get such a cozy vibe when you're in a cafe at the evening or at the afternoon, and it gets dark and you walk through the city. I actually would say right now it's dark outside, and I love to walk around the city. Some people say, oh, it's getting dark, I don't want to walk around the city, but as Bogdan said, it's really, really safe here, and you always feel that you're not having any stress. That's actually also a point why I came to Denmark, because it's so relaxed and chill here, but everybody's still doing their things, and nobody's stressing each other, and you don't really have the fear of missing out. That's also, I think, a big point where all the Danes are looking for, and the sustainability of this point is actually the next point I want to talk about, because sustainability is not just in the life quality, it's also about energy and other focuses they're having. So I don't know if you heard about the SDGs. You probably will when you come to Cphbusiness. They are really sustainable focused, and that's a big topic. What we're having, especially in Lyngby, we're focusing a lot there on sustainability and the SDGs. That makes the life in Copenhagen a bit more livable, as maybe compared to other cities. So you maybe think there's a high standard, and there's also high expenses, and so Copenhagen gets really expensive. So yeah, Katrina already shared the screen, thank you. So let's have a look at the expenses you're gonna have in Copenhagen. So the rent, can you go back again? So the rent will be between 470 and 870 euros per month. You can see this is a very broad calculation we did here, because you can have a lot of luck and get a cheap room with good quality, or you can just start from something very standard and also cheap, but it's also based on your standards of living, I would say. So if you have a lot of luck, like I said, you can find a cheap place with good standards, but you can always change the places. It's very easy to move around in Copenhagen because it's also very small. The next point is food. It's 200 to 270 euros. That's what also depends on your life standards. And then the public transport is 90 euros per month, which I would say is not always the the point, because you're not using public transport that much if you're driving around with your bike. So there are a lot of opportunities to drive around with a bike in Copenhagen, especially if you live. Also if you live at the border of the city center or from the city, because it's not that far, and it's also a lot of fun to ride the bike around Copenhagen. So yeah, you can actually save that cost and spend it on other parts, maybe some beers or something. Yeah, the next point is the insurance. So if you destroy something on the street or whatever, you have to have those costs covered at, so that's €8 per month approximately. Don't save me on that one. Yeah, then the books for uni and supplies are up to €700 per year, and the phone is from €13 on, I would say. You can also get it a bit higher or a bit lower. That's just a price we set. That's for what I get right now is 100 gigabytes for €13. So you're very well covered. Yeah, the next point is how do you actually get all the money to spend this? That's, of course, it's a job. So next to the studies, you're gonna have a part-time job, and that's up to you to apply. So the Cphbusiness will not give you any job. You have to go out and apply for a job, which is normally with an hourly rate from €12.10 to €18.80. So that's around 90 to 140 crowns. Just a range you can calculate with for later on. But it's also a bit of luck how good your salary will be. But that's also start low and then you can still increase. Yes, so my personal job was before the lockdown was actually working in a bar. So I got around 120, 125 crowns per hour as a barkeeper, just so you have little of that. But next to this, if you're working 12 to 15 hours per week, or 10 to 12 actually, you can have the chance of ESU, but this is with a lot of requirements. So the one is actually that you have to be a EU citizen, so it's not available for everyone. That's a big point you have to be aware of. And yeah, there are actually some requirements I would look up when you're coming to that point of actually getting settled and everything. So there are some requirements I can tell you are mainly the ones. So you have to have a contract for work. You have to have a minimum of 43 hours per month. That's actually around 10 to 12 hours per week. And documentation is very, very important. I had a letter from the government in April, and they told me to pay back 40,000 crowns, which is a lot of money for a student. And I documented all the hours I worked in, and they just passed it on and said, okay, that's fine. You don't have to pay back all the money. So I had to pay any crown. Yeah, but this is actually covering the ESU, and the part-time job is actually covering all my costs in a month. And I can have 200 to 300 crowns of savement next by. So yeah. But that's for me actually around 8,000 to 9,000 crowns, including the ESU. So ESU is for me for 5,400 something crowns after tax, just so you know. And also the hourly wage of 126 is before tax. That's also a big point you have to know. Bogdan and Jamie, do you have any input on what I just told about?
Hi again, guys. Well, I think, Jonas, you were quite comprehensive in your explanation. I think the one thing that I wanted to mention is that looking at the previous slide, you could actually see, for instance, the rents going from 470 470 euros up to almost 900 euros. And that sounds scary, but you will find that the 900 range, that's highly improbable that you're gonna end up paying that much for rent. The 900 euros, that's something that if you have some very special requirements and you want to live right in the middle of the city, in a penthouse or something like that, you might end up paying that. If I were you, what I would expect realistically, from my personal experience and also from experiences from other of my friends, it's around 600-700 euros. That's a very realistic amount. Obviously, we gave you the whole range because it can go both ways, depending on supply and demand. But with a 600-700 euros rent per month, you should be able to find a very comfortable place close to your studies. But yeah, apart from that, I think Jonas, you covered quite well all the things, and I'm not sure if maybe Jamie has some input.
Yeah, just really short. I really agree with the expenses. And for example, for me, I pay 470 euros for my apartment. And I was lucky, but I also had it through connections, through friends who already lived in Denmark. And so that is a way how you can also find an apartment. But I also, when I told my siblings in Germany that because I'm a EU citizen, get SU, and I don't need to pay for studies except for the books, they were really jealous because they need to pay for their semesters and they need to work for to get even like a lot of money as I get with SU in the work. And so they were really jealous. And so it's a really nice way here in Denmark that you can study and use your time really to study and improve your skills and also to get the support. And so, yeah, that's my put in. But now I pass on to Kathleen.
Thank you, Jamie. Yes, so now it is time to listen to one of my colleagues, Helen. She will give you a little bit of insights into what type of help can you expect from Cphbusiness if you decide to relocate to Copenhagen. Helen, you are on. Helen, I think you need to turn on your computer.
I'm sorry. Hi, guys. My computer was acting up a little bit. These days, you never know about technology. Anyway, my name is Helen, and I am one of the international coordinators here at Cphbusiness. And it is my job to make sure that you feel welcome and to help you settle in both in Copenhagen and at Cphbusiness. So once you have applied, I'll be here to assist you. And there are a few ways in which I'm going to do that. I'm going to mention a lot of things. Don't worry, I will repeat this and you'll get all the information as soon as you reply to us. So already on September 17th, I will be hosting an online event. Basically, it's called From Applicant to Student, and it deals with a lot of the practical matters relating to relocating to Copenhagen. So bookmark that date already now, December 17th. You can also book meetings, one-to-one meetings with me online as soon as you've applied. And in January, on the 8th of January, I'll be hosting a couple of meet and greet webinars with students at some of our AP degrees as well. In January, I will also have a few online events, an introduction to our online platform, which is called Moodle, and also more about accommodation in Copenhagen, but more to come. More information about these events will be shared with you once you have applied. On January 18th, actually from January 18th to January 21st, I will be hosting the Welcome to Cphbusiness event, which is an onboarding virtual event that takes place these 4 days. It's a lot of fun, and this is where you get a lot more detailed information about Cphbusiness and about Copenhagen. We have a lot of practical matters we deal with, and a lot of visitors and guests come and stop by. It's really fun, I promise you that. Following that, I will also have a few online events or webinars about accommodation, about some of these following practical matters. But don't worry, I will share all of this with you. You'll get emails from me if you have applied to Cphbusiness. I do want to share a few things actually at Cphbusiness International. we have an international cafe for international students, well, Danish students as well. So this is your place to come and hang out with other international students to get a bit of network going on here. And then I am actually the host for something called Hygge Danish at Cphbusiness, which is a very casual introduction to the Danish language. It's just a lot of fun. Anyway, you should know that I am the person to turn to in case you have any question following your application, not with your application, but once you have applied. And so, yeah, again, don't worry if you didn't get all of this information. I'll be sure to share it with you in writing. And I think it's a good time to learn more about what to do with your spare time. So Jamie, do you want to give a few details about this?
Yes, definitely. So it definitely depends on what time it is of the year, because in the summer, it's really nice to have the beach so close. You can go into the water and spend time with friends. I found them through the school and through work and just through other activities that I did. For example, I signed up for a religious voluntary program where I do service projects, and there's also how I found some friends. And in the summer, we also did a lot of bike trips. Because Denmark is so flat, you can actually bike wherever you want to go. And so we just went camping and biking. And then when it gets colder and darker, there are other great opportunities. You can travel around in Denmark. There's so much to see, even though it's a pretty small country, but it's really beautiful. And also you can go to cafes, and there are really nice cafes in Copenhagen where you can play board games and just socialize in that way. And yeah, one way how I also try to do my spare time is to learn Danish. I signed up for a Danish language study, and it's actually for free. You just need to pay a deposit from 2,000 Danish crowns, and you get it back when you finish your module. And but yeah, what about you, Bogdan?
Thank you, Jamie. Well, I think you said it quite well. You know, given the time when I was talking about in the summertime, the city itself, it's so dynamic and so active, and there are so many things that you can do, especially because every single little street has a cafe or a bar on the corner. There's always music playing from somewhere, and there's small events going on. The weekends especially, they're incredibly beautiful in the summertime because we have a very long day in here. It goes up until maybe 11 in the evening. There's still sunlight. So that definitely puts you in a very good mood, and the whole city is very energized. But nowadays, both with the coronas and with the winter coming in, the days get shorter. The corona kind of prevents you from attending all kinds of events and all kinds of parties. So it's a matter of being a bit more creative with how you spend your time. Personally, right now, I'm actually working on starting my own company on the side of my studies. So naturally, a lot of my free time actually just goes in there. There's no more free time. You just do that. But another thing that you will notice in Copenhagen, if you end up in here, is that it's a very dynamic city, but also very active. And by that I mean an active lifestyle. A lot of people in here are jogging or running or playing some sort of sports or going to the gyms, or who knows. There's so many things happening in here and so many things that you can do. And it's a very infectious kind of thing. Just by living in here, you will soon start to realize that you might end up taking some classes for some dancing classes, or maybe go to the gym. So it's a nice way also to meet a lot of people, because especially the international community, it's quite good at actually participating and creating events. So I definitely encourage you to do that. And that's also something that I'm doing. I'm trying to, as much as possible, attend different events and spend some quality time with my friends when the time allows. What about you, Jonas?
Thank you, Bogdan. Yeah, I totally agree with Bogdan and Jamie said so far. I can do some additions to this. So I would actually also, I mean, right now it's a bit hard to do, but recommend you to go to a lot of music events and join some clubs and associations. For example, I'm working in a Verening, which is also an association for cultural education. So you can meet a lot of Danes there. So the way to the locals is not that far as you maybe you realize on the streets in the beginning, because some of the Danes are really closed up and they're in their own world. But as far as you correct them, they're really nice, and yeah, then they're all yours, I would say. They're very open and helpful from what I experienced so far. So some of my friends are actually helping me to find a new flat, or helping me to join or do some sports with me. So they also invite me to do some stuff with them, and therefore you can start meeting some other Danes or some other friends, and then it's all about connecting. So for example, in the summer I did a lot of spike ball. I don't know if you heard about that. That's a trend sport at the moment, with the trampoline in the middle, and then you have a ball. So that was an open event in Fælleparken, for example. That's one of the, I would say, kind of the city park here. And you can do a lot of sports over there, so you can meet a lot of people. And where I also met a lot of people was the climbing hall. So I just started a couple of weeks, but I already met some really nice friends over there. But now with all the lockdown and all that stuff, I started to join a lot of webinars, which are mostly free to attend. So you just sign up and then you get an invitation, like this one, for example. And some of them are actually connection or yeah, get together workshops where you can just discuss about a topic. Yeah, the next addition to that is actually accommodation and the CPR number. The CPR number is the social number you will get when you come here and sign up. So that is actually mandatory to have if you want to start a job. Yeah, that's coming through an accommodation you get. So an accommodation can be either a shared flat, your own flat, which is really hard to get in the beginning, but I'll come back to that later, and student housing. So student housing is mostly by one association hosted here in Copenhagen called KKIK. That's for a colleague, that's a student colleague thing. So you can just sign up there on a waiting list, and the further you get away from your actual uni you're studying, the higher you get on the waiting list. So there's a bigger chance for not being in a center to get higher ranked than actually signing up for example, here next by, next to the Cerner campus, which is, I think there was just a link. Yeah, there you go. That's my recommendations to you to check. So I posted some Facebook groups as well, which are good to find some places. So try to send as much out as you can, and get good answers back, so you can look around and actually maybe choose at the end which place you want to go to. But yeah, to join the Danish culture a bit more, after finding a place to live and get a social tax number and all that stuff, you might need to learn a bit of Danish, right? So I would suggest to go to Danish classes, which got free again. Last year when I came here, I had to pay for it. But this year it's just a deposit you have to pay. That's 2,000 crowns. And if you finish a module, you get the money back. So that's the deal. If you don't finish it, you will not get it back. Yeah, but that's my additionals for now. Katrina, do you want to move on?
Thank you, Jonas. Time is running, and I think we will move straight into your questions. And first, we have one asking, do we have any Polish students at our university? And the answer is yes. We have a lot of different nationalities here. So in total, we have more than 50 different nationalities at Cphbusiness, and we have more than 650 international students from all over. So I think perhaps if you could give an example from your class, Jamie, how many different students are you in your class, would you say?
Yeah, I think we are around 15 or like 10 to 15 different nationalities. And I actually have 2 classmates from Poland. So we definitely have people from Poland in on Cphbusiness.
Thank you, Jamie. And we have another one asking admission related questions. And I promise you that I will put all the number you can call for the admissions team into the chat at the very end of the webinar. So you get a phone number where you can call colleagues of ours between 9 to 12 o'clock. And they will be the best ones to contact because they work with admissions on a daily basis. So the number will be coming up, Mina. Yes, then let me just go down in the chat, Q&A. So one of you asked about accommodation, and just keep an eye and copy paste the different accommodation advice we posted in the chat for you now. It's really useful to go through the accommodation guide, which Helen has written. We have compiled a lot of advice over the years. Have a look in that one. Do you want to add something to that one, Helen?
I think that all I can really add is just as soon as you have applied, you get these detailed information about.
Sorry, I think Helen, your connection has just dropped out. So just interfere if you come back in, otherwise we will continue with some of the other ones. Someone is asking if it's possible to study faster than the years given, 2 years for the AP degree and then 1.5 for the top-up program. And the answer to that one is no. It is a full-time study. So you need to, if it's a 2-year program, then you need to study it for 2 years. If you have studied elsewhere before, it might be that you can get some credit from your previous degree, but this is one of those questions where you need to be in direct contact with our admissions office. And then we have one asking how many students can get into the AP degree course. And the answer to that one is it varies. So we have the summer intake, which starts at the end of August. And then we have the winter intake, which starts at the end of January or in the beginning of February. So you can actually apply to both our AP degree programs already each half year. So right now we have the intake open for the February study start. So if you want to go for that one, you need to apply by the 16th of November if you're an EU citizen. If you are non-EU citizen, I'm sorry, but then you need to wait until we get to the next round, which is opening up in the 1st of February and will close for all of you, regardless of nationality, on the 15th of March. And how many courses do we start? Well, it depends on the campus and it depends on the study program. So I can't give a clear one answer to that one. Yes. When does Cphbusiness give a notification for the winter intake? That comes down to, are you an EU citizen or are you a non-EU citizen? The majority of our students are from Europe. And in that case, it will be on the 16th of December that you can expect a reply from us. Yes, I'm sorry, but I can't remember standing here what is the deadline for the non-EU, but it's on our website. You can have a look there. And one is asking, is it hard to get into your university? And I think we should ask Bogdan, what was your impression? Was it hard to get into Cphbusiness when you applied?
Well, I think it's a tricky question to answer because it all depends, obviously, on what your grades are, what degree you go for, and what that particular year's number of applicants are. From my perspective, from a very, I'm sorry, my light just went off. I'm gonna try and get it on. It's gonna come soon. From my perspective, it wasn't a very hard process. So, you know, administrative wise, everything had a very good flow, and the people at Cphbusiness, they were super helpful with all these kind of questions that I see you guys have. So once you have your papers in order, the process is very streamlined. But I can't really answer exactly how hard it is.
Fine,
I don't really have a scale for that.
I can also say that when you apply, we don't just look at grades. You come with an international background, which means we take a holistic view on your application. So if you have got some relevant work experience, or you have traveled abroad for more than 3 months, or you have something else that could say something extra about you as a person, which you can document, that will all add points to your application. So keep in mind, don't be scared of if you think, oh, I didn't get good grades in high school. Well, it might be that you have done something really cool on the side of your school, which would give you points to add up for the low grades. So by all means, apply, and the worst thing happening is that you get a no, but it really isn't just about the grades. I'm not just saying that to be nice to you, it's actually the case. Then we have a question from one who's asking, how do you manage your part-time job with the internship? And I think, Bogdan, that must be you, because you have done your internship on the side of your studies.
That is true. Well, that's definitely quite a challenging time, and it will be a very intense period for you. The good thing is that the internship goes in 3 months, so it's not an incredibly long period, but it's all down to your perseverance, I guess. As you know, you have a minimum number of hours per month that you have to work in order to actually be able to get the SU and everything. And on top of the internship, which is already a full-time job, that can become a bit stressful. So you'll often see that you might have a full day from 8 until 4 o'clock, you're at the office or at your internship. And then from 5, 6, you go to your part-time job to actually make the hours for the SU. There are some ways around it though, which means that the SU, the way it kind of works, it's not necessarily on an ongoing weekly basis. It's kind of like averaging out. So if before the internship, you've been able to actually stack up some hours and you worked a bit more than just the minimum, you might be able to kind of cut down during the internship on your job hours to kind of be able to cope with it. But all in all, it's not necessarily that stressful. Like, it's quite easy, and it's often the case that the employer from your part-time job, they will be quite understanding with the fact that you do have an internship and you have to kind of make things work. So I wouldn't worry that much if I were you. It's going to be stressful, that's true, but it's manageable, and pretty much everybody in here does it. So there's a way around it.
Thank you, Bogdan. And I just to add to that one, that obviously to get the government funding, if you want to go abroad during your internship or study abroad, which is possible as a part of your degree, you will lose the right for government funding. So we also encourage you to stay in Denmark during your internship, because then you will start building the network they're all referring to. And speaking of network, one of you is asking any tips on how to find an apartment without having any connections in Denmark. And I think, Jonas, you might be the right one to ask about that.
Yeah, maybe I can also say something about the internship doing abroad and not getting government funding. Well, there's actually a point that you might get Erasmus Plus as well during the internship. But yeah, see what you can do about that. Finding some places to live without connections is also very possible. I found a flat, and I had a lot of luck within 4 weeks actually. Also, I heard some people got it within 2 weeks, or it also depends on how much effort you put in. But the more people you're writing on Facebook, and the more people, or the more applications you're sending out, and the more, yeah, like I said, the more effort you put in on different platforms, the easier and the faster you get the place to live. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Thank you. And then we have quite a few questions on admission, and I'm afraid that I have to refer you to contact our admissions office directly. They are the ones who can help you with your specific unique circumstances. This is a webinar mainly focused on what's it like to live in Copenhagen and study here. So I will post it for you when we're done with the Q&A. Let me just see. So we have one asking, what is the average age of students in AP degrees? And I think it's your time to answer this one, Jamie.
Yes, so my class, it varies actually a lot, because we have classmates that are just coming out of school, that are 18 or 19. And then I have classmates who are actually in the mid of 30s, end of 30s, that they already had their, and that they worked, that they have the education, but just wanted to do something else, or just see if something else, like a different skill. And so everyone is actually there, and it's really nice to work with them in teams because you learn from each other. And yeah, so yeah, a big range of age.
Thank you. And then we have a very relevant question on accommodation. How early can I search for a place to stay before my studies? Helen, do you want to give an input? I think you're back. Could you give an input on that one?
I'm back. I'm sorry, everything just kind of messed up, but I'm here now, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience of me dropping off the link. You can actually start applying as soon as 3 months prior to your study start. But you can even start, I would recommend you to start now, because with what Jonas has said about these Facebook groups and sharing personal or private housing as well, get into the game as soon as possible, and go to the KKIK website and read more about how to sign up. Because I think it is vital that you take advantage of having this opportunity as you as international students. And I'm sure Jonas mentioned this, I'm sorry if I missed it, but you are actually on top of that list. The further you are away from whatever campus you are going to study at, the better your chances of actually getting a dorm room or a student housing. I mean, they're just better chances for getting that through KKIK. So yeah, I think that's my best advice for now.
Thank you. Also add on that be aware of scam. Scam is a big point in having this private thing through Facebook. So be aware of that you through the Facebook postings that you also get a CPR number. That's very, very important, and also that there's a contract. Without a contract, I would not go for that flat, and always have a look by yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to add to that. Never pay cash. You never ever pay cash in Denmark. I mean, that's just a golden rule. You never pay anything in cash. So just make sure that everything you do go through banking. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen. And time is running fast, so I just have a couple of quick replies to two of you. One of you is asking if I graduated a couple of years ago, can I still apply? Yes, definitely. As Jamie mentioned, we have a wide range of students. Some come straight out of high school, some have worked for a number of years, some even have a degree before. So there's a wide variety of students here. So that should not hold you back. And one is asking, how does it work with a part-time job if you take your internship abroad? The short answer is, in most cases, it doesn't work. It comes down to what you agree with your employer on. So we can't give one answer to that, but as a general rule, you definitely lose your government funding unless you're working for a Danish company abroad, which in many cases might not be the case. So it comes down to what you figure out with the employer you find. Then we have one asking, did you save up a certain amount of money to sustain yourself when studying in Denmark? And I think this question goes out to Jamie.
Yes, so I saved a little bit of money, but not too much. So I saved actually 2 rents, and so then I saved the first rent, or paid the first rent, and then I used that money actually for living, and then that was all what I saved up. But what about Jonas or Bogdan? Maybe they have more experience or a different experience of that.
Yeah, I can say that I actually saved up until 2,000 to 3,000 euros. So if you always have to consider the worst case, I would say. So if you can't find any place, be aware that you can still save up some money and survive with that. Yeah, that's my advice.
And then we have 2 more questions, and then we're about to round up the webinar. So we have one asking, is it difficult to find a job in English at the beginning when you come here before you learn any Danish? And I think, Bogdan, will you say a few words on that?
Absolutely. It's actually not difficult at all, because one of the cool things about Copenhagen, Denmark in general is the fact that they're very good at English. So as a student, when you come in here, most likely your first job will be somewhere within the service industry. We're talking bars, cafes, restaurants, as a waiter or as a bartender, or one of the various jobs that go within. And because everybody in here is so good at English, and it's such a common way to actually interact with people, not speaking any Danish doesn't necessarily exclude you from the possibility of getting a job. My first job that I got when I came in here, I spoke no Danish at all, and it took me a couple of weeks to find. I was a bit lucky as well, but I never really had any particular issues with not speaking Danish, so don't worry about that. But do get on Danish at some point. That will help.
Thank you, Bogdan. And then we have a question, public libraries, do they have a lot of English books? And the short answer is yes. In Denmark, there is a lot of English available. We are a small country. We depend on our relationships with countries abroad. So we not only speak a lot of English, but we also have a lot of literature available in English. So yes, we do have that. And the final question, let me just see. Do students get discounts in shops? And that's the final question, and we'll take it to Jonas.
Actually, I can't really say anything about shops, but I can say about museums and exhibitions. There's a lot that it's free entrance if you're a student or if you're under 26. So yes, you can, but not everywhere.
Okay, so that was it, guys. Thank you so much for attending this session. Now, you might not feel that all of your answers were, all the questions were answered here. Keep in mind, we are here to help you. And once I've turned off the camera, you will find the admissions office email and phone number in the chat. So reach out to them if your questions are related to admissions. Also, on our website, we have students available. Jonas is there, for instance. So you can chat to Jonas after today if you have more questions, and you're also most welcome to reach out to me when you get the follow-up email. We are here to help, so don't forget that. Best of luck with your application if you are making one at one point, and thank you for attending tonight. We will stop now, so bye-bye everyone, and take care. Hi.